We will be using a combination of LaTeX and R codes to write dynamic reports. Dynamic meaning that the reports update as we update the data. For example, let's create a combination of R code and LaTeX in the neatar format. First, you need to install R package neatar, tools, install packages neatar. I already have it installed. Then we can create a file and save it as plot_iris.rnw. Are you sure you want it? Yes. And copy the basics of a LaTeX document. But first of all, we can check that we can compile this document, this very simple document, within RStudio. So you see that for RNW files, here we have the compile PDF button. So we can compile PDF. When you click compile, it automatically saves it. And the compilation goes without errors. We have the PDF output. Then we can specify R codes, and first we need to specify R behavior or some options. I usually just copy the options from the last project I have been working on. So here is a piece of R code, so-called chunk, which is in this case a setup chunk. So we will specify the number of digits to output, width of the code, and some other parameters such as figure width, height in inches, output width being equal to text width, etc. You can check the help files for all the different parameters we can set. Remember to recompile the files when you're doing big changes. So right now we're recompile to make sure that everything still works. And then we can use R chunks within this code. To insert a new chunk, there is a button, create a new code chunk, or the shortcut Control-Alt-I. It creates these delimiters, which you can also type by hand, where you can place R code. For example, we can use R code for the plotting. We can also add here, after begin document, the function in LaTeX make title. We can also specify the author. And try to compile it. So now the error is no title given because it's required for the make title. Let's specify the title, plot iris, and specify the date, for example, as empty. So here's an example output with iris data, and what's dynamic about it is that we can change the data and quickly redo the plot. For example, we can take only first few rows of the data and recompile it, and all the results will be updated. There are important options called echo and evaluate. We can set echo to false to suppress the output of the code. If we set it to true, the code will be printed as well. And evaluation means that the code will be executed. We can set it overall, and we can also set it for each chunk separately. So for example, if we have a ggplot chunk with this code, we can say that we don't want to echo it. So we have now two graphs. For the first graph, we echoed the code. The code is available. For the second one, we just executed the code, but we didn't print it out in the final PDF. If we want to show some output in text itself, we can use the function asExpression. For example, right now we have the iris data updated, and we can say that sample size equals to \s expression expr. Then in curly braces we can say n row, number of rows in the new iris. So you see that it outputs the new sample size for us, and otherwise we can't use just n-row iris within our chunk, but it will look differently. So in the first case, it puts our output within the line. In the second case, it puts this chunk output on a separate line.